So today I will be doing a brief introduction. So I'm a product consultant at Optitex, focusing on the 3D side of the business and working with all the brands and retailers within the UK. We also are very excited to say that Jenny Holloway has joined us, the CEO of Fashion Enter. So she will give an introduction about who they are and what they're doing and how they're really looking at manufacturing and rethinking during this COVID period. We also have Alexandra Basilati, who is a solution specialist in 3D, who's been at Optitex over 10 years, and she will be doing a demo later and really change the way that they think about manufacturing. And Alex's demo will be around 10 to 15 minutes, which will talk through the process from design through to production of how when a designer sends a tech back to a manufacturer such as Fashion Enter, what that process in terms of 2D to 3D looks like. So as we know, things have really changed over the last few months. The way that we've done business with the fashion industry has really opened our eyes in the fact that we need to change the way that we work. We've highlighted that our relationships with suppliers need to be more agile and sustainable. You know, there's been lots of cancelled orders, stock stuck in China, stock stuck on ships. So, we need to look at how we are sourcing, and do we need to be more responsible? Do we need to make sure that we have a good balance in terms of using domestic manufacturing or near sourcing, so we can be more agile to buying seasons, let's say. So one of the other ways that we can look at rethinking manufacturing is really digitising the entire end-to-end workflow. So that's looking at tools for design, for buying, for pattern cutting, for technical, and also those digital tools that can also speak to the manufacturing side of things, such as linking to cutting machines and, marker making systems. So at Optitex, what we really try and provide is a great relationship to the brands and the retailers and also the suppliers to have one holistic approach to digital workflows. So what the designer uses or the pattern maker uses at the brand or retailer, that 3D or 2D system can then talk to the same machines or technology that the actual manufacturer is using. So all that interoperability between data is seamless and effective. And one thing this really highlights is, as a fashion industry, we haven't been sustainable. We are oversampling, we are overproducing, we're doing lots of markdowns, so we need to change the way that we do things. And sustainability is on the mindset of most people now, and how we can reduce samples and our carbon footprint in terms of sending samples through couriers. So we're going to focus a lot today on digitising the supply chain. So Optitex, we say our 3D system is designed to make. So what you see on the screen is actually a representation of what will be produced. There is a 2D pattern behind it. So when you stitch the 2D pattern, it creates a 3D avatar. It means that designers, buyers and garment tech and suppliers can all work together to work on this 3D garment, to add fabrics, to add trims, to add stitches, and really make it come to life in terms of what that product will look like in the physical world. So the idea of having digital tools is to be able to get that sample right first time. So rather than resampling, requesting new samples from suppliers, it's about getting that sample right so teams can be more productive. They're not having to do various review sessions time and time again. They're not wasting hours sending comments. They can do it all in real time and on the screen. This is just a representation of our Optitex workflow. So we provide the digital tools, as I mentioned before, to really help support every single step of that development. So whether it's the planning side, creating digital mood boards, all through to pattern making, actually making amendments on screen, adding darts, checking tension maps and using the digital tools to really assess whether that garment is going to fit on the avatar, all the way through to sending that data to be able to do costings, to look at, how much fabric is going to be utilised, and all the way through to sending that data through to a production cutting machine. So on screen are some of our customers that we work with. Most have been on the journey around 3 years, some are more recent. But one thing that is very clear is the mindset of brands and retailers are really looking towards 3D and how they can adopt it, not just for design, but for pattern making, and how the whole end-to-end value supply chain can really change and adapt these tools to become more efficient and productive. So one of the things, again, we're going to focus on today is how those innovative partnerships with suppliers can really help build those bridges to help us to produce on demand, faster turnarounds and really cutting those lead times, what that can actually look like, how it can support not only the brand and the retailer, but also support the supplier, because they're not overproducing, they're not wasting stock, they're not buying fabrics that will never get used. So it's working together to really make us more efficient as an industry. And like I mentioned before, you know, being able to control the development of 3D and 2D at the concept stage, you can get a really good, accurate costing of what that sample is going to look like. So you're only designing and developing those within your margins and to your cost price. So now I'm going to hand you over to Jenny Holloway from Fashion Enter, who will talk to us about how they develop and how they sustain the way that they manufacture.
Thank you very much, Liz, and thank you everybody for coming today. I recognise some of the names in the participants, so good to see your names there as well. So I want to give you a very honest overview of Optitex and the way we work, and for those who don't know who we are, I'll just give an introduction about the company first. Thank you. So we are a social enterprise and we have two aims. We want to make the best quality fabric, the best quality garments that we can in an ethical and sustainable way. But we also, having identified that there's a real labour shortage of skilled machinists in particular, we did set up the FTA, the Fashion Technology Academy, and we are a bona fide training provision as well. Thank you. So these are the different areas that we have. We have the factory. So our factory, we aim for a 500 unit minimum order. However, I have to say, in light of sustainable and fast track production, we are having more sort of 400 units now. We have a couturier service, and actually this is where we make garments between 100 and up to 400 units. The fashion studio, hate it when there isn't a capital S on the studio, but hey, that's fine, I've just seen that. The fashion studio is where we do lots of sampling, and actually lots for new brands, new startups, and if retailers need press samples urgently, then that's what we do. And we're fully integrated. We have a design service, we have grading, and there's nothing that we can't really do. We don't do heavy duty I was going to say leather jackets, but actually we have made some jackets in the fashion studio service. Then the Fashion Technology Academy, we actually teach people with no skills at all at a level 1 all the way through to level 5, which is the bespoke tailoring apprenticeship, which we've got Harrods, Ralph and Russo, Gibbs and Hawkes on that programme. The Tailoring Academy, actually it was because of the Tailoring Academy that the relationship with Optitex was formed. We'll go into that later. And then we've had a dabble at our own collection. We've got Bells of London, which is, actually I think it's a bit cheesy, to be really honest. So we've taken 9 of our staff and we've created mini collections for each one, because I'm a big believer, having been a senior buyer for Arcadia and a select for M&S, that everyone's different shapes and sizes. And I think that the perfect size 10 or size 12 actually doesn't exist anymore. Another reason why we went for Optitex too. And B of London is a bit of a diffusion range where we've got some bestsellers on silk thread. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay, so we have won some awards both on the manufacturing side and also on the training side too. Thank you. So why did we opt for Optitex? We did look at all different software and hardware packages, and actually for us it was flexibility. We liked the fact that it was so integrated relative to other systems that we saw. It's actually quite easy to understand too, and it meant that we could adopt it very, very quickly. And then because we were having the Tailoring Academy, which was launched in November 2019, I approached Elizabeth to say, look, can we have like an Optitex centre? And we then had some match funding of £230,000 with Optitex. So we bought the software and the hardware, but we sort of then had match funding from Optitex, which has been fantastic. Thank you. So why do it? Do you know what? It's hard out there. I mean, I've been in the industry 35 years. I've never known anything like it. I think there's going to be lots of casualties in the retail sector. And over the last 5 years in particular, we've been a major advocate for all manufacturing in the UK. You know, that's the beauty of being a social enterprise. It doesn't have to be centric on fashion enter. It's for all manufacturing in the UK. And, you know, I can remember the days of Marks and Spencer's when I was a range selector, and massive factories in Nottingham with Burnham, SR Gent in Barnsley. And, you know, I don't think we realised how fantastic these factories were and the way that we could turn on production. And there were real characters in the trade. You know, there were people like Peter Wolf who would go and deliver garments to Marble Arch on a Friday, and they'd be sold out on Monday, and the order would be ready on the Tuesday for a repeat. You know, this was how fashion used to be, 80s and 90s. And in a funny kind of way, we're going back to that, but actually it's even faster, and it's more digital, and it's more sustainable than ever before. So that streamlining of the development process, it's pretty awesome, to be honest. Okay, thank you. Obviously, reducing the carbon footprint, it's got to be on everybody's mind, you know, especially, I think, with COVID in particular. You know, it's been quite nice not seeing the aeroplanes in the sky and the pollution in the traffic. And if you just think now, what can be achieved within the UK or nearshoring, you know, I'm not stupid. I know that people are still going to be wanting to use Bulgaria, Romania, etc. But the opportunity now for quick turnaround has never been higher, and it's a massive impact on that carbon footprint. Thank you. And actually, the better design choices, this is a really important point. I am actually ashamed at my own lack of knowledge when I was a senior buyer, and you sort of chase the margin, and you know you're sort of set on that course, and you're sort of wheeling and dealing and negotiating. And it wasn't until I really went into manufacturing, sort of the best part of 12 years ago, that I realised how little I knew. And actually, this is what I like the Optitex system for. I don't know how many people don't understand about you know, French themes and the different types of machines, but it's so important. It's so important for price, the construction you have, and it's that sort of trade-off between not having a poor quality garment and actually also the customer not thinking that it's being devalued in any way. So the fact that you can, at a click of a button, have these different seams that come up onto a garment is just fantastic. Thank you. And obviously it's faster. I mean, it's just a completely different age now. I mean, the conventional you know, spring, summer, autumn, winter, the transition, the holiday, the Christmas, it's gone. I mean, it really, really has gone. And for a while now, we've been talking about 4 to 6 weeks lead time. That's now changed from new idea to garment concept. We are expected 2 to 3 weeks. And with repeats, it's 1 to 2 weeks. I think there's still a lot of understanding that needs to take place with retailers and manufacturing, because obviously we can say we currently make about 12,000 garments a week, but you have to plan. And actually that's where I think at the moment the biggest risk is for retailers and OTB, open to buy. Now, you've got to be joined at the hip with us, and you've got to work in tandem. But really, we're getting to the point now where we should not know what we're making on a Monday. We should wait till that weekend sales goes through on Saturdays, Sundays, especially online. Monday morning, we should be getting that conversation, that telephone call with the merchandiser who says, you know what, don't make that, put that on the line. I need it by Monday next week. That's how fast fashion is. And that's not bad. There's loads of people talk about fast fashion being bad for the environment, but actually it's the other way round. Fast fashion means you can be reactive, you can get the right garments in the right colours, and it's quick. You need retailers and suppliers to sell out at full price. You start discounting or you start overstocking, and then something like the awful pandemic that we've had comes along, it's going to knock you for six. Inventory has to be low. Thank you. And actually, that's what I was just talking about, sustainable fashion. That's our factory in North London. That's one of 3 sites that we've got. That's Unit 14. Obviously, if anybody ever wants to come and see us, you're very welcome. It's a big space. We've got about 45,000 square feet in total. Our workforce is very mixed. We've got 12 different nationalities. We've got 1 single British stitcher, which is quite sad. We've got a couple of British stitchers that are on training with us on the lines, but it is all about sustainable fashion. Thank you. And this isn't being talked about very much, but it's actually something I would like to bring up. And you know, the traditional roles are also now changing. We're very used to the garment tech and the pattern cutter. We've got the buyer, we've got the merchandiser. And actually what we're seeing is a reemergence of a different role, which we've called product developer. And it's multitasking. It's a variable role. It means that the designer needs pattern cutting, understanding, even if it's an elementary stage. It just means as well that in these times where cash flow is so tight, that you know, that there may be redundancies that are occurring, but I think it's this product developer role that's really important. And once you understand how the software works, it's so easy to use that it's a game changer. Instead of making sample after sample, ordering length after length, you can do this digitally. Thank you. And what we're doing actually, I said at the beginning of the presentation, is that there isn't a perfect size 10 and 12, and data changes quite considerably. We work very closely with Alvanon actually, which is a fantastic company. And so we've got their avatars, and you can now create exactly your avatar, and rather than sort of producing endless garments. I mean, I always think about blouses when I was a blouse buyer. You know, you'd have the traditional classic blouse, you may have a trapeze, you may have a fitted, a boyfriend. Well, once you've got that standardized block, you can then do the amendments. You know, you can change the collar, you can have a Peter Pan collar, you can have an empire line, a short sleeve, cap sleeve. There's so much you can do, but you need to streamline your processes. You need to have your blocks ready so you can react quickly, and you need to know what your core fabric bases are. You know, please look at standardizing your fabric bases so they're plain and they're print. You can then get economies of scale by bulk buying. You know, I think manufacturers would be only too happy to be holding stocks of fabrics, and look at doing more of a CMT service rather than fully factored, because you've got designers. You've got designers there that are really able. And when you sort of consider how, for example, Optitex works, where it's so design-led, you know, they've got their 3 areas, ladies, men's, children's wear, but it is about the designer is right at the heart of the whole of the business, producing 7 different garments a day for trials. It is about knowing your customer and designing appropriately. Thank you. So I'm not going to read that, but you know, I have tried to summarise those. If anyone wants to take a picture or looks at it afterwards, by all means do. It's been a godsend for us. It has really increased productivity. We've worked out that each sample we make is between £260 and £300. So that's an incredible amount of money, and that's all costs being factored in, you know, including the fabric, the post, a courier to send in the garment to the buyer. It's a hell of a lot of money, and it's not sustainable. And you know, we're constantly trying to really make the buyer's job easier, so we have to be innovative. But actually, we can do this smarter and leaner, and it's just so important to be working on a digital platform that can be accessed both sides. You can sign off your briefs, you can print out accordingly, and you're away. Thank you. I also wanted to be very balanced, and I also wanted to say, you know, of course, with every system there's disadvantages. The cost of training, with every new system there is a cost. The one thing I haven't put down here, which I want to put down actually, is the mindset of the actual pattern cutter in particular. I think, you know, depending on the age and the adaptability of the individuals in your pattern making team, there is resistance to any new system. I mean, we're very fortunate because we've got a great pattern team and they want to learn, and we sort of have a very strong motto at work, and it's, you know, you change or you die, because you have to keep on reinventing yourself. So we have embraced new technology as much as we can. And I think the fact that you can see sort of those 3D avatars there, you know, just look at the flexibility that you've got. You know, they can actually move, and once the basic premise of designing, creating the pattern, sewing the pattern together, that was probably took a little bit more time to understand because you have to do it in a set format. But I would say that's the biggest barrier. But once you're over that with the training, then I think that one person will motivate another person. So we've got 3 people now that are fully trained on. And the other thing is the fabric scanner. We are going to invest in a fabric scanner. We haven't got one at the moment. I think it's been a little bit limited on the number of fabrics. But I think once we've got that scanner, and we're working with Optitex to do that, so we can offer a full service at North London, that will be us complete. We'll be in a happy place then, because we can offer all the drape properties of all the different fabrics that are required. Thank you. And I just put this up again. I wouldn't dream of talking about this, but you know, I just did a little bit of re-looking of what the state of the economy looks like, and it's pretty gruesome out there. You know, there's lots of talks, obviously, about a second spike. Is it going to be October? Is it going to be January, February? What's consumer confidence like at the moment? And I think, to me, this just demonstrates even more than ever that you've got to keep your OTB open. I think it's a very, very brave buyer that's buying at the moment, even for spring, summer 2021. I just wouldn't do it. I just don't think you know what's going to happen. And I think the retailers and e-tailers that have kept their inventory low are the winners out of COVID. And that fast track and that response, that really is the way forward. And you know, we, as I said, we're a social enterprise, so we just really want to support the industry and the retailers, because I think there is just so much opportunity. Every cloud has got a silver lining at the end of the day, and you know, I'm a great advocate of what can be done in the UK. Okay, thank you. So that's very much my presentation over. I'm more than happy to take questions at the end, and thank you all very much.
My turn to welcome you in our summer webinar about supply chain process. My name is Alexandra Vasilaki, and I'm Solution Specialist at Optitex. Nowadays, demand is see before receive. And this is what I will prove you today during our journey. I will present you how the 3D technology can speed up the sampling process. Through the following steps, we will see how we can create avatars and saving the sizes, and then we will jump into a live demo where you will see how a 2D pattern can be transformed to a 3D style. After that, the style can be shared with our clients or business partners by using the cloud product or collaborate. In that cloud environment, users have the possibility to communicate in real time. Back to the pattern design system, you will watch how fast amendments can be done and how the style can be prepared for the production. And by that, we will also generate all the necessary reports for the tech packs. At the end, we will focus on the aesthetic part of the style, where we will apply the top stitches, the trims, and the colorways in order to create photorealistic images. Starting with creation of avatars, Optitex comes with a library with different parametric avatars for women's wear, men's wear, and junior wear. All these mannequins contain more than 100 different measurements, and that gives to the user the possibility to save the different sizes. These different sizes can be also visualized in different poses. Poses that they can give us the fit on the back side of the file. Or, for example, if we want to check how a trouser will fit, we can make the avatar bending on its knees and see the fit in that pose. Now let's get into the action. How we can start this journey by receiving a tech pack where the designer had added the inspiration photos and some necessary files such as graphics or printed fabrics that they would like to see on a technical sketch, which have all the necessary information about the construction of the specific file. So now, what you see right now on the screen is our pattern design system, where Optitex can give you in one screen the 3D window where we can open the size we want to work, as well as the 2D flat pattern, which we can import from any CAD system by importing the WMA or the DXF file. Moreover, our end-to-end solution contains all the necessary 2D tools which the user can use in order to modify an already existent pattern, or even to create a new pattern from scratch. Now, in order to see this 2D flat pattern on the 3D side, we just need first to define which line will be stitched to which line. So doing that all around the garment, then we are ready to see how that will fit against the size we have chosen. Placing the pieces on the avatar, we can start doing the simulation. Turning on the springs gives to the user a transparent view between the body and the fabric. That is very helpful for technical people to understand the position of the cut lines, the balance of the garment, as well as the fit. But in order to get more accurate fit, we need to select which fabric we would like to apply on these pieces. Optitex comes with a library with 160 different fabrics. The physical parameters of these fabrics. That means every time I choose one of these, parameters such as bending and stretch are going to change, and that is going to give me the final drape as well as the fit garment analysis. Here, what you can see is a heat map showing me in which areas the fabric is more stretched and in which areas the fabric is more relaxed. As you can see right now, I have a perfect fit because I am in the range between blue to orange. That means that the fabric fits well and in some areas stretches a bit more than other areas. What is very interesting here is that anytime the user has the possibility to select all the pieces or a group of pieces and immediately choose from this library another fabric which might be more stretched or less stretched. What will happen right now is that it will calculate the new fabric that I have chosen and will immediately give me how that fits. Bad choice. This fabric seems that is too tight and it's not appropriate for the specific pattern. So easily the user can decide which fabric can use for the specific style. Now, once we have finished with this style and we have done the simulation and everything looks great, the technical person is ready to share it into the cloud product named or collaborate. Into this cloud environment, people who get the right to log in can see this 3D view and moreover can add comments on that. So for example, if I would like to make this crop top more long, I can add a pin here and I can type my message. Make it longer, 3 cm. Once I submit, all the people who are in the loop, they are going to receive a notification that somebody adds a comment. So once we log in, we can check all these messages so easily the technical person can go back to the pattern design system and using the 2D tools in order to do the amendments. Let's say, for example, I will make this 20 centimeters longer. Once we refresh the simulation, we can share again this style into cloud. This time, the style will appear as a revision tool. That means that I will not lose the previous versions. So easily you can understand that here we can store all the previous versions of the specific style. We can see how it was in the beginning and which were all the samples that we did. As you understand, until now, nothing physical have done yet. Now that I agree with the view I see on my screen, I can approve this style and I can ask for production samples as well as bigger or smaller sizes. So going back into the pattern design system again, the technical person through the tools can create gradings, proportional gradings or non-proportional gradings for plus sizes mainly, and with this grading we can make the simulations for the other sizes that we have done for the for this style. That can be visualized like this, so we can have the front or the back or the side view of each side, but most important, we can have it in different poses as well. That give us the possibility to understand how this garment will fit on different poses in specific areas in all sizes. So easily we can take a decision that this is a correct style that can go on with the production. Moreover, through the grading, the user has the possibility to create measurement charts. Measurement charts where we can define the most necessary measurements such as bust, waist, hips, and so on. And immediately we can get this information into an Excel file. That Excel file that gives us the measurement can be added into a general tech packs file where the user can import results that we can get from the 3D, such as the sample with the printed fabric in several views, images regarding the fitting that we would like to see, and these are very familiar photos to you when you're doing a fit process. You can see that you have the possibility to take a photo of the person and put it in the tech pack with comments. Same here, you can have the fit analysis, you can have the springs. Then you can have another page where you can get the number of the pieces, the quantity and the material you have defined. Most important, for costing reasons, you can get the length of each side, of each stitch line, so you can have a total of these stitches. Easily you can get a cost for the sewing. And going further to our marker making system, using automatic nesting, you can have the marker layout, as well as you can get the results of the marker length and the efficiency of the specific marker. From that, you can also get another report where you can apply the cost of the material, and you can get a total cost of the specific solution, as well as if you have a cutting machine, you can estimate the time for the cutting. So these and more other reports can be exported directly from our system, so easily can help the technical information and the production as well. Now let's jump into the aesthetic part, where we can start making this style look more and more realistic. So our system comes with a library with different stitches. In this library, you can also add your own stitches. But as you can see, you can find stitches to apply as like flat lock or overlock. There is also another folder containing bindings and piping, and another folder where you can find different kind of zippers, metallic and plastic in different sizes. Moreover, there is another library containing different kind of trims, such as buttons, rivets, eyelets that can be used in your style. You can also import your own trims into this library. And also our recent collaboration with YKK Zippers give us the possibility to install a folder that contains all the YKK zippers. Now, once we would like to apply a color, a plain color in our pieces, we can select all the pieces or a group of pieces, and we can apply any RGB code, or we can import a Pantone library, so we can get the exact Pantone code that we would like to apply on these pieces. Moreover, if you have just a regular scanner, you can scan a fabric, so you can have any PNG or a JPEG file, and you can select it, and you can see how this fabric will look like when you apply it on the pieces. That fabric, you can change the scale, you can make it look bigger, or you can make it look smaller, and see how it looks. You can have a contrast, you can define smaller for upper pieces, or you can make plain color for this. So by this way, you can create the different colorways. Moreover, if you have any graphic that you would like to apply, that can also be as PNG or JPEG file. You can visualize it on the 2D area or on the 3D area, and you will have the possibility to make it bigger or smaller, and you can move it exactly where you would like to have it on the piece. Let's make it bigger. So you can have it anywhere you would like on the piece, or let's say here we can place it in a different position. So once we have this done, as you can see, our fabric, our colors are still look very flat. So before we make the photorealistic image, we just need to define which texture we would like to apply on these pieces. Our library contains textures like, for example, tweed, jersey, sequin, glitter. So once we select one of these and turn on the photorealistic view, that is going to give us the accurate result by adding different lighting, as well as you will notice that we have the possibility to make some areas more shining, for example, the graphic, and having the rendering in real time, we can save this image as a single image, or we can save the 36 images in order to create the 360 views. These images can be saved with or without the avatar, so we can get and we can see all the inside details of the style. And after that, these images that we will save, we have several options how to present this style. One of these is to upload these images into Optitex cloud-based digital collection product. This is a product where we can present our styles digitally. As you can see, we don't have any physical sample, but we can participate into a sales meeting where we will present our collection. We can filter our collection, so we can select which kind of category we would like to see. And once we want to see a style, we can just click it, we can rotate it. Anytime we can stop and we can zoom in order to check the details. And by this way, we can present and we can jump from one colorway to the other to show which is our collection and its different colorways for the style. Moreover, these images that you will create can be presented into a PowerPoint, or you can even import these images into your website by creating GIF files or having snapshots. So easily you can avoid any photo shooting and you can present your style by this way. So this from my side. I hope you found this presentation helpful in order to improve your sampling process. Now we are ready to hear your questions. Please.
Hi, thank you, Alex. Right, so we have a few questions that have come in. I hope you can hear me better this time. I think the first one, Jenny, is for you. The question is, can we eliminate sampling completely and go straight to production without risk with digital sampling?
Truthfully, I would say, as your confidence grows, yes, I think you can. And I think it depends on your fabric basis as well. So I think you have to be particularly careful with drape. So I've seen a couple of samples whereby, yes, it has matched the garment, but would I have liked to have seen a few more pleats to get the drape right at the centre back? Yes, I would have done. And I think that once your fabric bases are established and that the fabric properties are correct, then that confidence will grow. So not initially, no. I think I personally would want to sign off, especially if there was a relatively large buy in the final approved digital version. But if you think that sometimes, you'll always do one fit, you'll probably do two fits with garment techs and buyers occasionally, and it's very upsetting when there is a third fit. And sometimes there's a restyle. So I think that if it eliminates definitely two sampling and it takes you straight to the final garment, that alone is good news. And then as your confidence grows, yes, you will be able to do automatic fits on 3D.
I think the second one for you is for you as well, Jenny. Would the costing be effective even for small order quantities?
I think it is actually, because I think what I've seen is in the last 3 years, an average order size has gone from 800 to 1,200 units, down to, as I said before, we want 500, but we have been accepting 400s. We've even been accepting 300s over 2 colourways, so it's 600. That's still a pain because you have to change the threads on the machine, but we have been accepting that to get cutting economies. And it is worth it because it's speed of response. And I think you've just got to aggressively really chase sales at the moment. Now, it is all about what that customer wants. She's much more discerning than she's ever been before. She knows what she wants, and she likes to have that confidence of fit. And those are the advantages that you get with the system.
Okay, Alex, I think there is one for you. How many measurements does the parametric avatar have?
The parametric avatar contains more than 100 different measurements. They're divided in vertical and horizontal measurements, as well as contains some indications of how the body will look like. As we know, not all the bodies are the same, so maybe same size, let's say size 12, can fit in different body shapes. So our parametric avatars have also the possibility to change the posture as well as to change the balance of the weight, so we can create as more accurate bodies as we can.
Okay, there's a few more for you, Jenny. What has been the biggest challenge in integrating Optitex technology and ways of working into Fashion Enter?
Okay, you're not going to like this, the retailers that are on board. I know I am from a corporate world, so please remember that. Your decision making is too long and it's too slow, and there are too many levels of management being involved, and that slows the whole process down. And so, you know, we're a really flat structure. So we you know, we have our WTM, a weekly team meeting. We have biscuits and a cup of tea. We make a decision. We get on with it, and we sort of have that flexibility. And we don't see that with the retailers. We see decision making to commit to Optitex is a long time, or any system. I'm not just going to say Optitex. And then it's like, who's going to do it? And you know, you always need to nominate a person right from the start to say, you are project manager and you're going to lead with this, and you have to take the team with you. What has been effective is that we've invited people onto our premises. We'll do a half day or a full day introductory course, which just lets you experiment with it to make sure that you like it. And obviously we do this with the full knowledge of Optitex. And I think you just got to do it. You know, you've got to commit to it. You've got to make it happen. And then, you know, we've had one retailer where we've been talking about doing all their blocks for them, and sort of 4 months on, that decision hasn't been made. And I know COVID has stopped everything, but it's like you've got to do these things. I know they're a big decision, and I think the frustrations of the people on the ground that sees it, but it doesn't sort of emulate upwards to the exec level. And perhaps the execs have got to come out and have a look at what Optitex is about, so they're committed. And then internally, you know, initially there's lots of systems out there, and it was like, well, why this system? And you can't beat a flat pattern, you can't beat pattern cutting skills. We did have that resistance to start off with, but it takes one person in a team to say, actually, I like it, and it then sort of has that ripple effect with the rest of the team. It takes them on that journey. And also, I think, you know, as a CEO, I've said, we are doing it. And that's why I say, from a retailer's perspective, you've got to get management to say, we are doing it and commit to it. And we all don't like change to a certain extent, but certainly in this environment now, it's the worst I've known it. You've just got to keep adapting and applying new technologies.
Right, we've probably got time for 2 more questions, so there's one more for you, Alex. Alex, are these avatars real people?
We can scan real people. So if you want to use the person that you're using for your fit process through a body scanner, you can scan this person, and you can import it into our system. So you can use that instead of the parametric avatar that we provide.
I think there was one more that I saw before, Jenny, for you. I think you mentioned the minimum order quantity, but there's a question, can they be made on demand one at a time and bespoke sizes?
We're doing that actually. We've got a client we've got a couple of clients that will only make on demand. So, and I really agree with this. This is actually how we do Bells of London as well. So we don't carry any inventory. We've got all the fabrics. We've done all the grading. It's all ready to go. And we don't say deliveries within 24 hours. We say deliveries within 7 working days, which actually gives you 2 weekends to do the garments. And that's got to be the future for smaller brands in particular. It's got to be the way forward where you're not spending your precious cash. You've got guaranteed orders. You're actually paid before the garment goes out. It actually gives you great flexibility, but obviously if you're cutting one garment at a time, then it's not going to be as cheap as making 1,000 garments. So you have to trade off economies of scale with your inventory cost. It's great for mid to higher price points. And then eventually you get a sales pattern as well. So it gives you the confidence to make a couple of ratio packs. But, you know, it can work, and it does work.
Okay. If anyone sent any questions in and we've not managed to respond now, we will send them the answers separately. But I think we're already over by 10 minutes, so I think we best put the presentation there. I'd just like to say thank you, Jenny, for being our guest speaker today and giving us a great insight into the way that you work and the future of manufacturing.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for attending and taking time out of your day. Martina will share with you the link of the webinar to your email afterwards. So thanks everybody, and have a great day.
Good luck everybody as well with the new seasons.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.